Welcome to Unfiltered and On Ball with D and Jammin. They talk sports, raw, bold, and unapologetic.
Yes, part two of episode 5. We ran out some time, but we definitely wanted to finish up with our last segment, and that is the third rail, politics and sports. Jammin, before we get started, like what is your thoughts about politics and sports? I know me personally, I try to keep the two separated, but when things get to a point where I need to address them, I have to address them, I'm going to address them, I will. What are your thoughts about that?
On politics and journalism. Uh,
Well,
or
politics and sports.
politics and sports. I don't honestly agree with it. Be quite honest with you, I don't. I don't think that we should. Uh, I don't think that we should have politics and sports at all. I don't think we should even talk about politics and sports. I don't think that we should be visiting the White House after championships.
Mm.
I don't think. I think sports should be sports and politics be their own thing, be politics, because it's a gray area. Like, are you gonna show favoritism to the sports guys, or are you gonna show favoritism to people that are actually out there living the world day by day? And then honestly, like some presidents use these athletes to build up themselves to where they get voters. I think it's a selfish way of doing politics. I think it's more of a bad on the politics than on sports.
So just some key points in situations where sports and politics have kind of clashed. Just recently, you had the situation where Jackson Dart introduced Donald Trump in New York for a Republican rally, and you had Abdul Carter come out be vocal about his disgust for it. And he actually demanded a trade. He said he actually thought it was AI originally, but now recently, I guess they have talked things out, and he does not want to be traded, but they spoke about it, and I guess they have buried the hatch. You also had the situation where uh, Nick Bosa came out wearing a Trump hat after a win. We also have the most notable was Colin Kaepernick during uh during a situation where he was taking a knee. We also have the situation where you have LeBron who was speaking out about unjust behavior, and a Fox reporter said, just shut up and dribble. Now one of the biggest pushes that you have, which we've always kind of had this push, uh, from the black community about athletes playing at HBCUs. But the NAACP right now is making a push with the Out of Bounds campaign, calling for black athletes to boycott powerhouse universities in redistricting states. No representation, no recruitment, no revenue. The sports world is getting messy. So with all this, it seems like over time, it's kind of been the elephant in the room. It's always kind of been there, But I feel like in about the past 10 years to 15 years, it has really kind of bubbled up a little bit more than what it has like in previous years. Um, I guess I don't really know where to go from that. But I guess what I'm looking at is the fact that like, is it here to stay? Is it something that we should be doing? What's your views?
It's not
Besides
going
the fact I know you don't want to do it. You not with it. They should be separate. But I guess it's here. It's obviously is here, so it's not going nowhere.
I don't think it's going anywhere. If there was a time for it to cease, it will probably be now, because we have teams and athletes nowadays doing more of not going to these events, not going to the White House after winning it all. We have that happening more now than we have in the past. But I think it's part of like the regime that's in there right now. It really just depends on who is the higher up of the country's nation at that point. So I don't think it's going anywhere, because the government is engulfed in sports. Before games, you have the fighter jets going across the field. I'm not mad at that because that's their practice. They're allotted practice time for that. Cool. Um, you have military people show up to certain college football games or even NFL games. Sometimes they've seen the national anthem. We've seen the national anthem. Like, and I'm not saying I'm against national anthem or America or anything like that. I feel like I gotta say that, but there's there's so much about our government that is instilled in sports where it's like I don't think that's going anywhere. Now with the government is politics. And really, if you look at the NFL, a lot of it is politics. Like some players won't ever be a superstar, not because they can't be, it's because of politics.
Mm. And and I'm just throwing things out there, but like just going back from me being a historian and looking into politics and sports. One of the most notable was Cassius Clay, aka looking at
Politics.
Muhammad Ali when he did not want to go to the war. Um, and it was a big ordeal about that. But we have a person who's leading the country who dodged the war. We also have your FBI leader who flew out to Italy to celebrate the victory of our hockey team during the Olympics. Um, but we've never had that type of celebration for the women's hockey team. I mean, the women's soccer team. We did not have, well, the women's hockey team who also won. Uh, are we going to get the same reaction? Did we get the same reaction for the Super Bowl team? And are we going to get the same reaction for the basketball team? So I guess what I'm looking at is just like, is this just due to a recent situation? And obviously it's not because, like I said, we had Muhammad Ali. We can't say that the politics are not embedded in the sports world. We can't. Like technically, when we sit up here and look at it, even when you do the Olympics, you literally are sitting up here taking politics and wearing it on your chest. We're taking the individual team out of the situation. That's just kind of like even with the Olympics team, a lot of these cats, like they I don't that Olympics team is that hockey Olympic team was still a mixed bag, bro. And a lot of people don't realize that still was a mixed bag. You
Well,
know,
nowadays they I think the rules are kind of lenient nowadays because I've seen people
exactly.
that ain't never lived in this certain country that are, oh, I'm playing for Jamaica or I'm playing for China or whatever. It's like
Well, they have the descendant side. Like you do have people because there are certain people. So like Dylan Brooks played for Canada. When you look at you have some players who are we forget about it and we think they're from America, but yeah, they are some people. But you do have some people who could play for their country and choose not to.
don't you think that's kind of weird?
I think what we have, and see, I'm not trying to get that deep into it. What I think is weird is when politics are cool in sports until they go against the government's push. They go against the machine. They go against the grain. Prime example, when you sit up here and you had LeBron, who was, in my personal opinion, probably one of the most recent outspoken basketball players that was at the profile or the level that he was at, the pinnacle that he was at. You have your Michael Jordans, you have your Kobe's, but these guys were outspoken about issues within the community, outside the hardwood or outside the lines of the game. He was one of the few within recent years. Now, yeah, you have your Dr. J's, your Will Chamberlains, and these guys who did speak out later on. Um, but it was very, very taboo. Colin Kaepernick and I'm about to butcher his name, but what's his name? Abdul Rahim,
Abdul Rahim,
who
yeah,
was Muslim and prayed during the national anthem. He got so much pushback when he used to play for the Nuggets. We have so much that's tied into
Sharif
this.
Abdul Rahim.
Rahim, yes, Sharif Abdul Rahim, yes, correct. I appreciate you, but it's been here. The politics have been tied into this. And even with this Abdul Carter situation, let's just dissect this one first. What is your personal opinion about Abdul Carter's reaction to Jaxson Dart introducing Donald Trump?
It's valid. Like, you have feelings. Like, we're all human. You have feelings on types, a certain type of things. You didn't like it. You expressed it. However, this is a team. Have I agreed with all my teammates throughout the years? Fuck no. Were were me and all my teammates buddy cool throughout the years? Not even in the slightest. Couple of them I don't fuck with to this day.
Right.
But it's a team aspect. It's it's not about you. It's not about individualized. It's just like the real world. There's people out there that are not gonna agree with what you say. They're not gonna agree with what you think. And that is okay. That is fine. That is a part of being alive. That's a part of being human. So honestly, personally, I feel like Abdul Carter should, understand that his quarterback thinks a certain type of way, disagree with it, talk to him personally, but don't let it overshadow the the progress that they have shown and the wanting of being a champion in the NFL, the National Football League.
I agree with that to a point. I think where we're at is with this situation particularly. I think what we're dealing with is the fact that you have entertainment. I think a lot of things aren't just strict politics no more. I feel like we lost the political side probably in 2016. I feel like everything was a shit show after that. I think a lot of things turned into lines were blurred. I think we started using athletes, we started using people. And I'll take it all the way back. I'll take it back when we set up here and we started utilizing entertainment for political, heavily using entertainment for political push. When P. Diddy set up here and pushed for Obama. When you sit up here and talk about Jay-Z dropping my president is black, when we go back to that. And the thing was, this was a historic time. We changed things. This was what we actually accept as the first black president, and you take it as you may, but as the first black president. Um, but I think what has happened in the past few years has been the fact that we've leaned on athletes and put them in situations where they have to choose a side. And the thing is, sports is very similar to the military. Once you get under that uniform, everything else shouldn't matter no more. And you start kind of forcing a divide to individuals when you put them in a locker room and you've used them in a certain way. Um, Muhammad Ali boxed by himself. He was an individual. If he would have had his viewpoints on a basketball team, on a baseball team, on a football team, look at the pushback and look at some of the problems that Jackie Robinson had. Look at the situations Raheem had. When you sit up here and look at some of these individuals, when you play a joint group game, when it's more than one individual, it moves a little bit different. And that means your team has to move in unison. The sport that has the most players is football. You're dealing with multiple personalities, multiple backgrounds. It's going to be the closest thing that you have to a military, to a squadron. Um, I think they've sit up here and just cosplay with individuals, and I think what you have right here is cosplay with Jaxson Dart. Do I believe that he 100% is a Trump supporter? I'm not sure. I don't know. That's not here for me to decide. It's hard to say. We don't know. It's not like he can like it's something that's on his forehead. We don't know. And it shouldn't really matter. But I think what's happened is they've weaponized athletes to a point where now we do kind of care. So now when your teammate speaks out about it, and us as the consumer, the people who watch this, now we kind of like, oh shit, because it is things that have transpired over time where you kind of looking like, yeah, this isn't just the normal politics no more. Um, apparently they've patched it. They patched it up. Uh, they've they've buried the hatchet and everything is cool with them. I have not delved into it. I'll do a little bit more research uh, to get some more information, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more. But I just think this is just one of these things where um, we act like politics ain't there, and it is. We act like we don't want to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room, and it really is. Uh, you don't it's hard to play on teams and be associated with people who have different agendas. And that's one of the biggest things is when you put those pads on, you put that uniform on, all your personal agendas are out the way. So we shouldn't be using certain individuals' abilities and what they do on the field, on the diamond, on the hardwood for other agendas. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree with it. You good? I
Yep.
agree with that.
But I just wanted to make sure that we tapped into this. I think it's one of these ones that maybe it's good that we we recorded this on a separate one because look, I understand like I'm not big on politics in my sports. I feel like when I sit down and I watch a game with you, I don't care what your political views are. And I feel like we've put such an emphasis on political views in about the past like 10 to 15 years where it's sad, where I can't sit down and watch a game with you.
Yeah. Well, I have a question though.
What's up?
So, as far as Jackson Dart thing, like, I think we're both in agreement on that part for the most part. Now, the dark side of politics, where it's like you have Colin Kaepernick takes a kneel during the national anthem. Everybody's in the hoopla. Everybody's mad. So, what do you think about that side of politics in sports?
Again, if politics are going to, and again, we're saying that politics are in the sport. We understand this. And like I said earlier, politics are cool being in a sport until it goes against the machine.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. See, when you have somebody like LeBron who sits up here and says, you've had too many people who have died behind the gun of police. You want these people to sit up here and be quiet. Shut up and dribble was the actual word that was used.
Yeah. I remember who she is. I don't know if I'm going to say her name or not, but yeah.
Nah, it's no point.
Oh,
You can if you want to.
nah, I'm not going to give her more clout than she already has.
When you sit up here and talk about Colin Kaepernick, who did the same thing, because it was really around the same time where we sit up here and said, let's end racism, let's make this push. And the thing was, a lot of people did not want the integration of that part of politics. But what's so funny about it was it that you didn't want the integration of the fact of what people were saying? That's the biggest thing. You just didn't like what people were saying. It was the fact that we have a lot of problems that's going on in this country. And I think it's genuinely a lot of people, a lot of us people, former players, current players, people who have played, or just like to watch the sport. When I want to free my mind, I want to free my mind. Look, fellas, ladies, fathers, mothers, sometimes you know what? You want to sit back and you want to have your drink. You don't want to deal with them kids. Sometimes you want to sit back and you want to go there, get on your video game and not deal with your baby mama, deal with your baby daddy, deal with your wife, deal with your husband, deal with your mother, deal with your father, whoever the individual, your sister, your brother. Sometimes you just want to get away. And sports might be that for you, where for that 2, 3, 4 hours out your life, that's all that matters. We not talking about who's in this, who I'm pulling for over here, who's doing this, gas prices, none of that. But at the same time, it's kind of been there recently. It's been an emphasis put on it. Um, and you have people who say they don't want it involved, but is it because you really just want that free time to actually hang out and have a good time with certain individuals, or are you just saying that because you don't want certain players to start being understanding and not coming to your program? It was a lot of fuss when you had a five-star athlete that went to a HBCU.
Crazy.
It's a lot of pushback right now where all of a sudden they sit up here talking about the NAACP is being racial. But the fact of the matter is they're not saying don't go to any college. They're just saying the colleges where the gerrymandering is going on. So again, one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? Wealthiest sports here in the States is football. Baseball too. But football, when you talk about at every level, high school, college, professional, football, it runs the show.
Big facts.
So it's a lot of things that play into this because a lot of people are invested in a lot of these organizations, a lot of these schools. And Jamie, who's probably the most wealthiest conference in college football?
Southern Eastern Conference, bro. By far.
One of the conferences that has probably one of the biggest problems with this whole redistricting. Um, again, I'm not a person that's big on, oh, I can do it, you can't do it. I'm not one of those guys. I'm either we both ain't doing it or we both doing it. And don't get mad. If you hit me, I hit you back. If you curse me out, I curse you back. Now I can take the high road if I want to, but I'm just an equal opportunity person. You understand me? So I've never been a person who's been like, well, we can do this and you can't do that. When it comes to a thing, but at the same time I am a person who's very understanding of, yes, if that's what you do, that's what you want to do, so on and so be. But I guess the point that I'm getting at is, I personally think that um there's going to be a lot behind this. It is catching a lot of momentum just due to the fact the time that we are in. I do not feel like I'm going to address this a lot more as far as the politics side of it. The political side of it, I think I want to keep the sports separated away from it. I'll be addressing this probably on some personal channels, but as far as this, I'm gonna keep some things separated, man. Uh, but yeah, I think it's 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 a lot to unpack, man. It's a lot to unpack. Viewpoints before we wrap it up.
Nah, I mean, I said what I said. That shit doesn't. It doesn't belong in sports. But I can't be mad at somebody for being mad at someone else supporting another political figure. But at the end of the day, it is sports. It is a team effort for the most part, depending on what sport you play. Um, you're not going to agree with everybody. You're not going to be buddy with everybody. Y'all all have a common goal, which is to win and win big and win a championship or a trophy
Exactly.
or ring or whatever the case may be. Do what you got to do to win a ring, because there's always going to be somebody that has different viewpoints than you in every aspect of life, not even just sports.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
my tip.
Yeah. It's one thing that I said that I always believed in is no iron team. But it is an eminent E. But with that, we're gonna wrap up this episode. Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in to Unfiltered and On Ball. Make sure that y'all sit up here and like, subscribe, follow us. If you are rocking with us on YouTube, make sure that you hit that notification bell. You make sure that you watch all our episodes and you share. If you are rocking with us on TikTok, make sure that you hit that follow button. You make sure that you sit up here and tag your friends, anybody, your loved ones. Make sure you tag them. If you're rocking with us on Twitch, make sure you share that over there with your people. Tell them to tap in with us. If you are rocking with us on Facebook, I want you to share. Hey, look, every Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be back like two shoulder blades.